and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Amen. Item number 2, establishment of a quorum. Commissioner Santana, are you online with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, we have Commissioner Santana, Commissioner Diaz, Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Glidden, and Commissioner Barnes. Item number 3, public comments. Public comments, you must notify the board to speak on certain agenda items. You have 5 minutes. Public can comment by calling 915-213-3008, PIN code 430-652-313 or an in-person signing sheet will be provided. Again, that number is 915-213-3008, PIN code 430-652-313 . Item number 4, consent agenda. Commissioners, anything out of consent agenda that you'd like to pull?
Did you want to speak? No? Oh, okay.
Where which department was headed to? Commissioner, thank you for bringing that up. As you know, we started our night crew. We have 2 in Socorro and 2 in San Eli for the time being, and they needed additional lockers, so those are the 4 lockers that we needed. Yes, sir. Do I have a motion? Motion by Commissioner Barnes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Glidden. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Motion passes. Item number 5, regular agenda. Discuss and take action on approving the purchase of new computers for district vehicles and tablets for the Board of Commissioners of the El Paso County ESD number 2, submitted by Chief Esparza. Chief?
Commissioners, as you all may have already talked to me about it, Verizon is pushing us to go 5G. Our devices in our vehicles are not 5G compatible. We will have to look at either replacing the tablet, which most of them are already 10 years old, except for the newest ones, but those are still not 5G compatible. And then all the tablets that we have for the U.S. commissioners are also not 5G compatible. So they're giving us a discount, I don't know for how long, for the rates on the usage of the air cards to be able to account for this. Of course, like everything else, they didn't give us enough money to encompass what a tough book cost, but I am putting it out there under a state contract, and I am looking at different vendors. This is just a formal so that we can start the process, and then we will bring it up as we get the total of what it's going to cost. But for now, we'd like to start with commissioners' tablets to be replaced.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Diaz, second by Commissioner Glidden. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos,
Aye.
Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Motion passes. Item number 6, discuss and take action on approving the purchase of a training mannequin for the El Paso County ESD number 2 Fire Academy, if allowed in the current fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, submitted by Chief Esparza.
Commissioner, as part of the request from the training academy side, we did buy mannequins for West Valley, but what we did not buy is I'm hating to say it like this, the geriatric, the obese one, and something that we can train on to be able to drag patients that are bigger, and that's what they're requesting at this moment.
Chief, more or less, do we have a price on it?
I believe they submitted 3 quotes.
Yes, sir. That is in your Dropbox.
It is in the Dropbox?
Yes, sir.
Can you read out the prices, Chief?
Yes, sir. Give me 1 second.
I was having problems with my Dropbox, y'all. Sorry.
Okay, we do have one quote from, I believe it is OK Fire Productions for the price of $2,897. We have a second quote from First Out Rescue Equipment for the price of $2,085.
I just want to make sure that we do get the bigger one, the obese one, if you would. Or geriatric, the correct word.
Bariatric.
Bariatric. I'm sorry, bariatric.
Firefighters be better prepared?
I'm sorry?
This would help our firefighters be better prepared?
Yes, because right now we're using Rescue Randy, which is, I believe, 185 pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Sosa.
I believe, actually, I believe it's 150 pounds if I'm not mistaken. The Rescue Randy,
And-
150 pounds.
Right. And this one is made for us to deal with bigger individuals and practice on how to either drag them out or get them out of the building.
I have a motion by Commissioner Barnes, a second by Commissioner Avalos.
To approve which one, commissioners? Which one? Because there's
I
there's a
believe
big
the,
difference.
I believe the Rescue Randy I'm sorry. The bariatric one we're looking for is the 180 pounds. I'll have to double check the quotes, but there's one here that says 180 pounds. And the second quote, I believe it says 140 pounds,
That's a heavier
154
one.
pounds. So it'd be the more expensive one, obviously, because it weighs
Yeah,
more.
That's what I'm
And that would
thinking.
be $2,897, $2,897.
Okay.
So commissioners,
Okay.
we're voting for the more expensive, the heavy one?
Yes, sir.
The one that, yes, sir, the one that we were requesting, okay, Ken, I have a motion by Commissioner Barnes, a second by Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Motion passes. Item number 7, discuss and take action to authorize the annual SCBA hydro testing for all departments, submitted by Chief Esparza.
Commissioners, this is a budgeted item. We do this every year. And it has to be through the same vendor, which is MES.
Motion to approve, sir. A second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Diaz, a second by Commissioner Glidden. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos,
Aye.
Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Motion passes. Item number 8, discuss and take action to authorize the purchase of foam, submitted by Chief Esparza.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part, Chief.
Discuss and take action to authorize the purchase of foam, the firefighting foam.
Oh, Commissioners, this is submitted by Logistics. We are running low a pallet on foam, just to restock what we are supposed to carry on hand.
Motion to approve, sir. I'll do second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Glidden, a second by Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos,
Aye.
Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Motion passes. Item number 9, discuss and take action on reallocating, reallocating stipend funds to hire 2 additional full-time firefighters, submitted by Chief Esparza.
Commissioners, after looking at the stipend, the 2 departments that are not using their funds to the full potential, which is Clint and Sanelli, I was going to budget additional staff for next year. And if we can get them this year, that'd be great. I think this is something that's doable, and we do have some potential firefighters already on the line.
Commissioner,
You want to speak on it, somebody?
Commissioner, if you don't mind, I'd like to speak on this. The only concern that I'm having is, like when we did the stipend, I want to make sure that we have these funds to support them, in years to come. I know that there is some concerns that as far as taxes, that I know that Commissioner Santana and Chief, you're up there discussing that. So I don't know if you can enlighten us on that or not, but
So
I can, go ahead, Chief.
So right now, what we're hearing over here is that there's, I think, 5 to 8 bills right now that are all targeting the taxing of all governmental entities, not only ours. What they're looking at is the fact that they're naming a political subdivision as a whole, not particularly us, but now that we're out here talking to them, because we weren't the only emergency services district out here concerned with this, and now they're trying to figure out how to change it, and they don't even know if it's going to gain traction because this is a very big, huge for all major cities, and you know the big cities like Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio. They're all here for that same reason because of this will affect everybody, not only us. So they don't think it's going to gain traction, but our legislative people are already looking into it.
And also, Commissioner Glidden, I would like to add, keep in mind, this has already been budgeted for the second year. The first year, we allocate $1 million for the stipend program that will provide full 24/7 coverage throughout the county. The first year, correct me if I'm wrong, Marty, we used about 150,000.
About 160 last fiscal year, but remember they didn't do the full year. It was from January to the end of September. And currently this fiscal year, they've only done about 140K.
So we're on track to use about $300,000 this year. So
But we are graduating more firefighters that are going to take advantage of this stipend
That-
program.
that is true. Mhm.
So I'm happy to announce that, yes, it is working. And yes, more and more of our young personnel are getting certified. As you were all there for the graduation of 24 of them. I think that was a huge accomplishment. We've certified 46. I looked at the calculations of it. We were to have sent them to an academy privately. It's going to run us about 300,000 versus we've paid 33,000 to do it in-house.
I calculated, commissioners, like this fiscal year, they might hit with the new membership graduating if they start taking advantage of that stipend. Maybe $500,000, 500,000 for the whole fiscal year. If we're still doing the same members as we have now, the same departments that everybody's participating with the exception of Sanelli. In this fiscal year to end.
Okay.
So you're gonna have a big fund available
Plenty of money.
after.
Mhm.
Sure, and that's,
I think we should be okay, Commissioner Glidden. I think we should be able to fund our volunteers, as I said before in the graduation. We're doing everything we can to keep giving them the opportunity to be there. We're training them to the higher level, but we also have to use some of the allocated funds. And if we are going to budget more for next year, and then we will also keep an eye on these legislative sessions to see what's really going to happen. But like I said, that's what we're being told right now, that it might not go because it's going to be something huge for every huge big municipality. The other thing that we're looking at right now, Commissioners, just so you all know, a little bit off topic, is that they're putting some mandates for us, which for the most part we are already doing. We do have the EAP, which is covering the mental health of our firefighters, but the state is actually putting a law that we need to be, watching the mental health of our firefighters. Number two, they're also mandating that we do a cancer screening of our firefighters in several different methods. However, they're not allocating any funds to this or telling us how we're going to pay for it. So those are things that I brought up today, and they're aware of it, and they're going to look into it because the allocations committee has to look at all those. And there might not be anything that gains traction. It's a good thing for us to take care of our firefighters, because at the end of the day, that's who's putting out the fires. But the cost to do it is not being covered.
Hey, Chief. All right.
Yes, sir.
Those 2 additional full-time firefighters, is there any chance that those could be just temporary positions? I mean, it matters that if we hire them on as full-time firefighters, that we want to keep them as full-time firefighters. And this is because we're reallocating funds.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that when we hire them, that it's a permanent position for them.
Right. Like I said earlier, we were going to budget 4 for next fiscal year. We were going to do 6, these 2 and 4 more, but we can always reallocate and not hire the additionals if the budget does not allow it.
That's correct.
I think the questions I got, and I know it wants to come up, is the color of the money. I think this money was voted on for the
Volunteer.
recruitment and retention of our volunteers. I'm not saying we don't need paid firefighter, don't get me wrong, but stipend money, what for that? Is there
No.
a way?
No, sir, the stipend money is for the volunteers, for any type of costs
Any,
they incur to be firefighters. I believe you're talking about the incorporation money. Keep in mind, we give each
No.
volunteer fire department
No, no, no.
$25,000.
Chief,
Right,
Commissioner.
Right, but the 25,000 would be for the, go ahead, chief.
If I'm understanding his question is, are we gonna get into any issues for reallocating money that was allocated for stipend into the payroll side? And no, the question is no. Any items that you have in the budget,
Let's
you as
take
the board
action.
can
Just have to take
need
action.
just to take action, and it could be reallocated for anything else. It
Fair
could be
enough.
for
All right, fair enough.
something.
We do have Chief Maldonado. He signed up to speak on this item. Chief, would you like to speak?
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, thank you guys for having me. Chief Esparza, you guys have done a really good job hiring people. Congratulations. I mean, this is exactly what we wanted to do, right? We wanted to get people. There's always a but, right? We got to make sure, to your point, that we're using the money the right way. We want to make sure that we continue to support the stipend program because the volunteers are the ones that are continuing to support the community as we continue to get the budget money to get our hired staff on. And solely speaking for West Valley, because of our geography, we're pretty much on an island. Solely speaking for us, stipend is working great for us. Every shift is completely full. We're getting the most out of it, and I'm sure that you've seen the balances where we really are getting folks in the door.
Congratulations.
On top of that, what we'd like to recommend is that maybe we allocate even more for that stipend. But because of my geography, I don't have a second unit. So if I've got 2 folks on a medical run and a second medical run comes in, guess what? Those folks are not tied up. If I have a fire, then I only have 2 folks responding. I've got to wait for the other folks to respond, or maybe my mutual aid to respond if they're available. So if there is stipend money available, would like to see if you guys can think about maybe utilizing it for that, at least one more position for us.
Chief, and this is a conversation
least
we can
one.
have, and this is
2
a
would be
conversation that
optimal.
we could, Chief, and this is a conversation we can have offline, and this is a very doable. We're never gonna say no to that. Like I said, but we do have to watch what we're gonna be allocating it for and how many. This is something definitely doable. You and I have talked about this many times on different topics, and this is something that we can definitely look into.
Thanks, Chief. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Item number 9, discuss and take action on reallocating stipend funds to hire 2 additional full-time firefighters. Do I have a motion? Yes, sir.
So, assuming we approve the 2 full-time firefighters, I know you're gonna have a discussion with Chief Maldonado about, once we approve this, will there be enough funds to transfer over to West Valley to cover 2 more to help them if that's what you 2 come decide?
yeah.
Will there be enough money?
Yeah,
Yes.
there's still plenty. That's what I need to address with everybody. It's, I
Okay.
have people that I have, and this is the conversation we can have offline with the chiefs.
Okay, just want to make sure that if we approve this, there'll be money to help them out. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
And I'd like to just say, for the record, I'm still concerned about if the state does go forward with what they're proposing, what are we going to do? And I hate to have to hire more people in a year and a half from now after,
But,
make
well,
changes.
Chief, Commissioner Glidden, to your point, I would completely agree with it. But I think if the state does go forward with this, we're gonna have bigger problems. We're gonna have bigger problems of not being able to hire people. We're gonna have problems of not even being able to fund the volunteer side of it. And that's why, like I said, we're here and I think they're listening to what we're saying. There's 5 to 7 bills that are targeting indifferent, but they are not paying attention to the fact that they're targeting every political subdivision in the state. They're not realizing that they're hitting on the emergency services, and they're not looking for another way to fund it right now. So I don't think that this is going to gain traction. And as we look at it, we will continue to make appropriate changes.
All right, thank you.
That being said, I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Diaz.
Second,
I have a second by Commissioner Glidden.
Avalos.
Correction, I'm sorry, Commissioner Avalos. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Commissioner Barnes abstains. Motion passes four in favor. Item number 10, discuss and take action on the financial audit by Peña Briones McDaniel and Company, submitted by Chief Esparza. We do have Mr. There you go, Mr. Peña here
And Lance.
and Lance.
Good afternoon. I'll go ahead and take it from here. I appreciate it. Appreciate the chance to be back and see you all and give you an audit report. Try to keep it short and sweet, but still give you the information that you deserve on an annual basis. I start out in front of you. You've got the binder there, but in front of the binder, you should have a 1-page 5-year summary. And again, we're historians. I'm talking about what happened yesterday, not tomorrow, but yet it does identify what trends and what direction we're going. And quite honestly, you all have just, I'm going to say, tremendous growth going on. If you look at your 5-year history there, current assets were 8,600,000 a few years ago. 5 years ago, they're at 7,600,000. But those are just your current assets. Your total assets 5 years ago were at 25,100,000. And they've grown a whopping 50% all the way to 37,797,000. That's obviously a huge increase, about $12.6 million, 50% growth in a 5-year period. So obviously very significant growth in your total assets and the size of the organization. If you look down at your total liabilities, a lot of times our assets grow and our debt grows, where you're the opposite. Your total liabilities actually dropped from $10.1 million down to $7.9 million, a nice $2.2 million decrease, about a 22% reduction. So 50% growth in your asset, 22% reduction in your liabilities. So that gives you a net position where we're sitting today of $29.8 million in as a total net assets. That's basically the value of all the assets and the capital above any liabilities. And again, if you compare that to 5 years ago, you're up almost 100% at 99%, up $14.8 million. So again, just tremendous growth. And again, comparing it just against last year, you were at 27.2 million net assets and jumping all the way to 29.8. I'll go into the detail of the year to year a little bit later, but for right now, just looking at 5-year trend. That's what you look like at the end of your fiscal year in September. How you got there? Well, the government activities, your cost of running the district was 5 years ago, you were spending $5.6 million. Now you're up 50%, all the way up $2.9 million to $8.5 million. So again, obviously, as the organization grows, your cost of services have gone up quite significantly. Your revenue to offset that, and this is the revenue directly offsetting the income, directly coming in, offsetting the expenses. You went from $300,000 5 years ago, more than doubling that to $895,000 this year. So basically that's 188% growth in your revenue stream to offset the cost of services. This does not include the taxes side. So the net government cost, which is the net cost before taxes, 5 years ago was 5.3 million, and you jumped up 2.3, 43% increase in this 5-year period. So that's how much it costs to run the organization with direct funds offsetting it. So how we pay for that are the taxes and the other revenues. And your taxes and other revenues have grown 36%, $2.7 million from 7.5 to $10.2 million in this past year. So and then if you look at the bottom line, every year you've been on the positive on net revenues over your expenditures. So your taxes, the cost of sales have, your taxes have covered more than the cost of sales of services over this 5-year period. So bottom line is very, very significant growth, very strong numbers, and very tight management oversight over the numbers that you have. That's your 5-year history in a short minute. Let me touch on just a couple of the pages of the book. If I was sitting on your side, these are the pages that I would figure were of consequence. The first few pages, the Roman numeral pages, are called your management discussion. That's where management writes out the various points. I'll just touch on a couple of those right now, just over on Roman numeral 6, so that you can see a detail of what the revenue stream is and what items have increased over the past year. For instance, your property taxes, you'll see on Roman numeral 6, went from 319 to 4.8 million to 5.7 million dollars. And that's just identifying the growth in the area and the cost of the property. Most of this is all due to property valuation increases. And again, I'm just going to touch on these quickly. The other page I want to point to is page Roman numeral 11. Again, showing a little bit more detail of the percentage increase, as you can see over a 3-year period. Charges for services going up in a 3-year period just by $167,000%. And again, all this is because reflecting tremendous growth in the county. And if I could jump over a couple more pages, Roman numeral 14. And this is your comparison against your budget. I want to point out here is again that you're completely in line with budget. The only fluctuation on the revenue side was the reserve fund that was not utilized. Other than that, you can see that you were very close to your budgeted items. On the expenditure side, same thing. You're within 10% of your budget overall on the review here. Then the last page that, well, the first page, I should say, that I want to jump over. Page 3 is our opinion page. We do have to do basically a single audit where we identify the financial statements are in accordance with a government accounting standard. So that's your pass, if you would. Then jump over page 4, just giving a quick look at what happened last year, 23 compared to 24. And a couple of major points I want to point out is, first of all, your cash is down a little bit. Well, because you bought some major equipment, jumped from 25.9 to $29 million in equipment this year. And I'll tag that in a minute. But the other one I want to spend a minute on is your accounts receivable net of allowance for bad debt. We took a look at your accounts receivable, and if you wouldn't mind flipping over to page 24, I'm going to use the term, well, we did to you this year. Your total gross accounts receivable this year were at $1,728,000. These are the taxes receivable. Last year they were at $1.6 million. Your allowance for potential non-collection last year was only at $53,000, and it's been at that number for about 3 or 4 years. We looked at it, and then we got into pretty elaborate detail of your. You don't have this, but I do. My cheat sheet of your accounts receivables of 1.7. If you take a look, you'll see property taxes that are delinquent. They're $643,000. We looked at the detail of that. Of that $600,000 of delinquent taxes, 82% of it, $500,000, is past due, basically between 8 and 10 years. Say so, or I should say 3 to 10 years past due. And the collection rate is down under 10%. So it really doesn't look like you're collecting very much of that. So when we looked at $500,000 of significant past dues, we decided that your possible allowance for bad debt needed to be increased. So we jumped it up to $253,000. So your net receivable is sitting this year at $1,474,000. So that was just, one adjustment to what you've been seeing in the past. You all easily absorbed it. Your total net revenues over expenditures, as I mentioned before, this year are $2.6 million. So it had a nominal effect to your overall revenue stream. So that's one item I want to point out on your page 4 of your position. Then if you flip over to page 5, again, the way a government entity works is we got our expenses on the left side, revenue directly offsetting that. And that's where, again, I'm going to say really good job. $8 million in expenses, $8.2 million. This year you brought $854,000. That compares to only 319 in the previous year. So this year you covered 10% of that cost compared to the previous year where you only covered 5%. Shouldn't use the word only, but I'll say you covered 5%. So doubling the coverage of the expenses with the direct services. So that means that this year we needed to cover $7.6 million in costs with our taxes. Your taxes did go up about 6.5%. And again, not due to property tax increase, but due to the market value increase of the properties. So your taxes went up again about 6.5 to $5,176,000. Your sales tax went up $144,000, about 3%. So increases, all due to the growth of the district of the county. That's one couple of pages I want to touch there. If you don't mind, I'll flip through a couple other ones. If I'm going too fast or if you want questions on any of the numbers, please stop me. The other major item, I think, is over on page 25. This has to do your capital assets. Again, we're very capital oriented. And just to take a look on the transportation equipment, jumped from 22.2 million all the way to 27.014 million dollars. So a significant increase. Again, your transportation equipment a year ago, your depreciation, which pretty much identifies the useful life of the assets, was at 17 million. Now your depreciation at 18 million, but your assets are at 27. You're closer to a 50-year lifespan. Bottom line is, a year ago, we'd be a little concerned. A lot of our equipment's getting old. We got to replace it. Well, you're starting to do it. And more important, you have the capacity to do it. And you've done it while reducing your overall liability. So again, a win-win across the board, if you ask me. On that note, if you flip over to page 27, 28, you can see, well, what are our debts out there? Over on page 27, we've got a balance on the vehicles of 3.2 million and 1.7 and on down the line. And again, all these you can see are significant reductions from the previous year, where we had 8,900,000 in total long-term debt, and now we're down to 7.2 million. So acquiring the required asset, fixed asset replacements, and still able to pay out the debt to acquire it. And a couple more pages, not too many more. Page 43, just pointing at the retirement plan. Something obviously of interest to everybody. Currently, your retirement plan, your pension plan, is sitting with a discount rate of 7.6%. With that, you guys are overly fully funded. You're at 125% overfunded. 99%, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to argue that 99% of all the pensions out there are around 80% funded. I should say the good ones are 80% funded. Normal funding is between 70 and 80. And unfortunately, there's a lot of California and all those guys are down under 50% funded. And you're at 101% funded.
Wow.
So again, bottom line is you're sitting extremely strong. Now, we do show a variance here of 1%. Well, because you all establish a discount rate based on the investments and how the investments have done. Bottom line, you're saying that government, we expect to make about 7.6% over a 10-year period. You've done that, and that allows you to be in this category. If the market were to turn and you didn't do so good, then you drop down to 6.6% discount rate, and you would have an unfunded liability of 300. And in your case, that would be a drop in the bucket because you'd still be in the 90% funding gap. So bottom line is you're sitting extremely strong no matter what the economy does over the next few years. And again, there's no indication that I've seen that we should suffer anything like that.
Right now, I mean, I know that there's gonna be a lot of changes in the funding and investments and stuff like that. I mean, we've heard that
Right.
up in Austin as well. So we don't have anything to worry to right now for the next couple of years.
I really would say correct. I mean, I'm sticking my neck out, but I do sit on pension plans through El Paso and and the answer is, I don't see any significant headwinds that would cause any grief in your situation. You are so, and I'm not supposed to use the word overly funded, but when the establishment is out there at 80% and you've got another 21% over that, you're well funded and you can sustain any kind of headwinds that come out. I'm sure.
And I had some discussions with them about this.
Yeah.
They were kind of like giving some narrative stuff.
Yeah. I'm extremely comfortable with it. Quite honestly, I'm shocked with it. I don't see that often, and I probably see 20 of these things a year. So, okay, so rest easy. I'll stop there. Then last couple of pages, page 28. It's obviously critical is our budget actual. Did we live up to our budget? Showing on page 28, both on the revenue side. I'm sorry, 48. Sorry about that. Got to keep me in line. Going backwards here. Page 48, your budget actual, again, your variances, mostly positive. Again, the only one you didn't use the fund reserve, but again, so across the board, positive overall on the, without the fund reserve, on the revenue stream, and then on the expense stream, again, staying well within the budget. So overall, you had total budgets of 16 million as total expenditures. You spent 14.3, 1.7 under budget in expenditures. You know, I've got to say, can't say more than that. Under budget on administrative costs, and you can just run down the line and see. New equipment purchase, obviously we did get that a little bit under what we had established. One item I'll just point out that where it said equipment maintenance, you see that is going up a little over budget. Again, identifying the age of some of your equipment out there. Then the last page that I wanted to go over at this point is, again, it's a single audit. So when we do an audit, we have to look at your numbers. Are these numbers proper? And secondly, we have to look at your internal control and your compliance because you're getting federal money and taxpayers' money. And in that vein, we had an unmodified report. We had no material, no significant deficiencies. Bottom line, the district complies with all the regulations related to the contract, related to the regulations and the internal control. The last thing of my report, just have to cover it briefly. I don't think we sent a copy. We do have a management letter that we sent in. I'll just cover these. Generally in the accounting, we did have noted some minor instances of adjusting journal entries that we had to have. We needed, so we do recommend that the accrued interest be adjusted at least at the year end to reflect the amortization of the schedules of the notes payable. We also recommend that the accounts receivable for property and taxes, as well as related allowance for uncollected, be reviewed on a quarterly or monthly basis. And then finally, we recommend reconciling the liability accounts on a monthly basis so that the financial statements you're looking at are more of an accrual basis. And we can go over that with Maria just to cover those. So we're saying pretty much everything went very, very smooth. The accounting, I think your accounting department does a very, very good job, especially as I said, in light of the compliance and the internal control. So most of the journal entries that we have are normal year-end journal entries that we suggest having. So with that, again, I think management's done a very good job. We appreciate being able to serve. Any questions or thoughts?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
Mary Ann, it hurt you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh,
Mr. Peña, thank you for your presentation, sir.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Mr. Peña, and Lance, thank you, and
Thank you,
Teresa.
Lance.
It's
And
great
Teresa,
working
yes.
with you all.
Exactly.
Chief, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask if Jessica Garza is there, so she can
Jessica
run us
is
a little bit. So she can talk to us a little bit on this new proposed bill that we're out here looking at.
Good evening. Jessica Garza, El Paso County Budget and Finance. Chief, you want to elaborate a little bit more on which bill you're looking at?
The one you and I talked about, the new proposed ad valorem tax for all governmental entities that
Okay,
you were doing the calculations on.
right. Well, let's just hope it doesn't get a lot of traction because it's going to make it way more complicated. In a nutshell, your tax rates are going to be based on the state average CPI and the state average inflationary index rather than on what you can afford here. So in some cases, depending on what your values look like, and of course, your population demographics, you may be forced to lower your tax rate because it's being based off of CPI and housing rates in the east part of Texas. I think our initial calculation, just kind of when it came out that we had to provide a summary really quick for county attorney, basically came back and said we would have to lower our tax rate by almost 12 cents, which means we would have to cut somewhere around $80 million from our budget. So something like that would be devastating for us at the county level. So you can just imagine what that impact would have at your level with the much smaller budget. And then some perspective, when we do our analysis every year as we prepare for budget, we look at, what is the average taxable value in the top 10 counties. And we do top 10 counties because El Paso County is the 10th most populous county in the state. Our tax values are about 50% of what the other 9 counties' values are. So while our tax rate is one of the highest, our values is one of the lowest. So when you start factoring that in with what their CPI looks like and their values look like, it's not an apples to apples when you're running numbers on them. We would need to raise our tax rate just to be comparable somewhere about 7 to 8 cents, which we can't because of the cap. And of course, because of our demographics, our commissioners are very reluctant to make that kind of jump on our tax rate because of the additional burden that it puts on our homeowners. And so that's just a really quick nutshell of what that bill looks like and the kind of complications that it could have for us here in El Paso County.
Thank you, Jessica.
Any questions? Congratulations on your audit. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Do we need a motion to accept the audit?
Yes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Diaz. I'm sorry.
Congratulations to Mari, your group, Chief Esparza, your people. I just think it shows everybody that we have a good team here, that we have good leadership, that we're doing the best that we can for everybody involved here, from the people that we're responding to the county and everything. So I just want to thank you guys, all the leadership here, everybody who works here. I know you guys put in good work, and just thank you. Thank you for what you do. All of you. Chief, great job. You and your team on what you guys just
No.
accomplished here.
All
Excellent.
the financial was Mariana and her team. All the expenditures that were my team. Well, they're all part of my team, right? But I want to give props where props are due. And Mariana had all the review of the budget and all the paperwork that she had to submit for the audit. Good job.
Thank you, Chief.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Muddy.
Mariana
Great job.
does a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't take credit either. It's Araceli and Cynthia who hold down the fort, and they're very detail oriented, and they're always, they're my bodyguards. They return items and this is not correct. This is missing. This is this. They're very, they pay attention to detail, and I can't do my job without them. We are an amazing team. I'm very happy that there are, a big part of this district, and I couldn't do my job without them. So I'm very thankful for them. So I can't take the credit. It's them. So thank you, commissioners, for your support and everything.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mariana.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Commissioner Diaz, a second by Commissioner Glidden. Commissioner Diaz? Commissioner Santana?
Hi.
Commissioner Avalos? Commissioner Glidden? Commissioner Barnes? Item number, Chief, do we need to go into executive session for item number 11?
No, I mean, we can. Be quick.
Okay. Executive session. The El Paso County ESD number 2 is now entering into a closed meeting pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551071 to consult with the district attorney concerning all matters identified in the agenda, where board members seek the advice of their attorney as privileged communications. The date is Tuesday, February 28th, 2025, and the time is 6:48 PM.
I will be logging off and calling in.
Yes, sir. And we're back. The El Paso County ESD number 2 has completed its closed meeting. The date is Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, and the time is 6:58 PM. Regular agenda, item number 12, take action on possibly leasing of certain district property. We have gone to a no action
No, Commissioners, can I have you make a motion to delete?
motion to delete.
Motion to delete.
I have a motion to delete by Commissioner Diaz and a second by Commissioner Avalos. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos,
Aye.
Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Item number 13, discuss and approve the next meeting to take place on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025 at 6 PM via web and open to the public in person.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Diaz, a second by Commissioner Glidden. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Glidden,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes. Adjournment at 6:59 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.